Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so the Giants have made some moves. I thought they were two kind of low-key moves, but after doing a little bit of research, I'm kind of more excited about the Keion Crossen trade. The Brian Lewerke signing. I mean, it's nothing. He's not going to make the roster. We're not holding 3 quarterbacks. I really highly doubt it that we keep 3 quarterbacks. And I think if we were, then we would have had someone else that we probably would want to develop that would already be here. So I doubt that we're keeping 3 quarterbacks. Maybe Brian Lewerke makes the practice squad and is the scout team quarterback for most of the season. But I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't think he's going to stick around for too long, but I could be wrong. Clayton Thorson was absolutely horrible. He was absolutely horrible. He was tragic in that game against the Jets. He was not good. He had one good play where he stepped up in the pocket and threw that touchdown to Damian Willis. But other than that, he was pretty much a train wreck. He couldn't go through his progressions, even against a vanilla Jets defense that doesn't really have much substance in their secondary. He was bad. He was late with his throws. His throws looked bad. He made throws in the coverage that made you just think, what is he thinking about? He ended up going out with a concussion later on in that game. He got injured, and they had to find a replacement for him. And guess who stepped up? Brian Lewerke. We went out and signed him. He's a quarterback that went to Michigan State. I'm pretty sure he got drafted last year. I saw him, or not drafted, but signed last year. Saw him in a Patriots jersey wearing that number 58 or 50 something because Belichick makes those rookies wear random numbers until they can earn their number. So I guess he was never able to earn his number. But he's kind of bounced around just a little bit so far. Again, a Michigan State quarterback. I think he had like 43 total touchdowns in 3 years on Michigan State. So that's not something crazy, but I guess it's decent. Again, he's just here pretty much as a camp body, pretty much as someone in the preseason that they're going to just look at. If he flashes, then they'll stash him on the practice squad. If not, then he'll just be on his merry way. But I'm not expecting much from Lewerke. Again, he had one play where he fumbled 2 times and threw an interception on the same play. So I doubt that he's going to be on this roster. But to kind of transition to my next point, we traded for Keion Crossen, and I think he's a good player. I looked at this when we first made the trade. I didn't know exactly what we gave up. I assumed it would be a 6th or 7th round pick for this upcoming draft, but we actually traded a 2023 6th round pick. So if you think about it, that's kind of like an NBA trade where you just trade a pick down the road. It doesn't really have that much value. We basically just signed this dude off of the waiver wire. The Texans were about to cut him, and instead of going through the waiver wire, I was going to say Nick Sirianni. I don't know why I thought of that, but I cannot remember that dude's name that works for the Texans. But the guy that worked for the Texans that used to work for the Patriots, that's the Texans general manager now, probably called up his friend Joe Judge and said, we're about to make a move here. I know you probably have interest in this guy. Instead of, putting him on the waiver wire and waiting for a team to claim him, how about we make this trade? Just give me a future 6th round pick. Judge probably talked to Gettleman. They made it happen. First and foremost, I was thinking that he would be struggling to make this roster because I'm looking at, Yadam, Rodarius Williams. I don't think they're going to cut Rodarius Williams, but Yadam could be on the chopping block. And I don't know how to feel about that because, again, I've been a supporter of Yadam because when you watch him last year, he did enough for our defense to be a top 10 defense. He was not a horrible cornerback. He was not a sieve. I mean, we saw horrible cornerback plays. I mean, with like Trevin Wade and Jaron Hosley, he was never that bad at all. And he was our second corner. So I never really saw that big of an issue with Yadam. And for him to be our 4th or 5th corner is really great. But maybe he doesn't make this roster. Maybe they're going to figure out some way to stash Rodarius Williams on the practice squad. maybe no one has any interest in him, and we can just stash him on the practice squad. But other than that, I think it's either Yadam or Williams that are gone. And well, when I say Williams, I mean practice squad. It's going to be one of those two, because I think Keion Crossen is going to make this roster. He is a special teams demon. He's a guy. He's only 5'10", 185, but he's a tough physical football player. He is a tackler. Now, he's not the most like, I'm going to come down and lay a big hit, but he gets in there and he mixes it up. He's a tackler. He had 5 special teams tackles, which led the team. Led the Texans last year. He has been doing it for a little while. He got drafted in 2018, has a Super Bowl championship with the Patriots. I'm not sure if he got drafted. Yeah, he got drafted in the 7th round by the Patriots. So he has a Super Bowl championship. Took him a while to get his feet wet. Some people call him a 4.2 guy. I think at the combine or wherever he officially ran it, he ran a 4.3. Either way, he's fast. He's very fast. He ended up getting a chance last year on the Texans after getting traded to the Texans. He ended up getting a chance last year to start the last 4 games of the season. I think they might have been dealing with some injuries. He started against the Bears, had 9 tackles. Now, I don't know how he got those 9 tackles because, again, we have NFL Game Pass that won't let me look deeper into these things. And I'm going to keep saying this until they fix what they've done. And if you don't want to bring back the all 22, you don't want YouTubers breaking down all 22 film because it was going too well for YouTube, great. Don't bring it back. But at least give us the opportunity to search for plays one by one like we were always able to, so we can just see what's going on. Like, at least give us that. At least let us search for broadcast footage of games. I just don't see what the issue is with that. But my little rant is over. Anyway, he had 9 tackles against Chicago. So even though maybe those tackles were on receptions he gave up, 9 tackles is 9 tackles. It shows that you're part of the football game. So that was his first ever start. I think maybe his second start was against the Bengals. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but against the Bengals, against the likes of T. Higgins and AJ Green, I think he gave up like 6 catches, or I don't know how many catches he gave up, but he gave about 60 something yards and no touchdowns. He had 4 pass breakups, which is very good for a defensive back. He was mixing it up. He has some decent ball skills as far as breaking passes up. I've noticed that. He did pretty well against T.Y. Hilton. And this dude, when you see him on tape, when you see him at all, I haven't been able to see the all 22, but when you see him on the field, from what I've seen, he is extremely fast. He's not someone that should be getting beat deep. And we're talking about somebody who's going to be probably our 5th corner and is going to mostly play special teams. And we'll probably see him mostly in the preseason. And if there's injuries, that's when you'll see him pretty much step in. But yeah, he's an aggressive, smart player, a Super Bowl champion, a contributor on special teams. This could mean a lot of things with him being signed or him being traded for. It could mean that they've decided to go with less wide receivers because they feel like they have their special teams gunner now, since they've just traded for him. It could mean they keep less linebackers. It could mean they keep one less corner that they were going to keep besides him. He's going to take someone's roster spot. We just don't know who it is yet. It could be that they believe so much in David Sills, but they don't think he can contribute on special teams. And they were going to keep CJ Board over Sills, but now they trade for Keion Crossen and they keep David Sills now and say CJ Board, we found his replacement at gunner. So I have no idea what their plan is, but I'm pretty sure that Keion is going to make this roster. And I think that Keion Crossen is going to end up being a fan favorite because he ended up being one for the Texans. And every team has those couple of players that just connect with the fans, no matter if they're star players or backup players or special teams guys. And I think Keion Crossen will be one. The media in Houston loved him. He got a lot of interviews, even though being a 7th round pick and, back of the roster kind of guy. And I think he's just going to go out there and compete for us. So I'm happy for that trade. I think it was overall a good move. Besides that, we got practice today for the first time since, I guess, last Thursday. We got practice today. And then tomorrow, the team will be moving, not moving, but flying from Jersey to Ohio. I forgot exactly what city it is. It's not in Cleveland, but they're going to be moving to Ohio. And on Thursday, the Browns practices will commence. Thursday and Friday, you have your joint practices. I think Saturday may be the preseason game, or it might be Sunday. But I know Thursday and Friday, you're going to have your joint practices. So stay tuned for that. Today, we have a ton of interviews. Joe Judge, all the assistant coaches, a couple of players, John Mara and Gettleman. I'm going to be covering that stuff later on today. But you guys have a great rest of your day. Until then. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.